Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I want to do my post-fight Garcia versus Thurman that took place at the Barclays Center. First, I got to congratulate Keith Thurman, who unified, and now he's the WBA, WBC champion. He got a split decision victory over Danny Swift Garcia. Now, for starters, the 7 reasons I picked Danny Garcia. I have 7 reasons that it blew up, has a lot of views. I picked Danny Garcia via unanimous decision, and one time broke the 7 reasons prediction streak. So I got to go back to the drawing board, and my next one, I got to make sure I get it right. But I want to break down the fight, give my thoughts on the fight. The fight was, for me, the fight, there were some things that I didn't expect, which is why I picked the Danny Garcia to win. I didn't expect Keith Thurman in the second half to do the Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad. Now, let me start from the top just so we have it clear. And I don't have all the numbers, round numbers memorized, but round 1, I thought Danny Garcia was doing good, and then out of nowhere, towards the end, like last minute of the round, Keith Thurman started releasing some bombs. Namely, he hit Danny Garcia with this right hand, and I was like, God damn. So I gave round 1 to Keith Thurman for that reason, because his effective punches in that last stanza were just too noticeable. Danny Garcia was doing good, but he didn't land anything as impactful. And I think he really got Danny Garcia's attention. Maybe Danny Garcia underestimated one time's power, but he ate a nasty shot. And one of the reasons in 7 reasons, I said I thought Danny Garcia had a better chin. Even though he came up short, he showed that he had a chin, because he took some pretty big bombs, and he never really went down. Well, not really. He never went down, and he never really looked visibly like hurt where he was out of it on Queer Street. So hell of a chin. Keith Thurman, he got off to a good start. I thought he was using his awkwardness, his angles, and his boxing, just boxing very well. And he I think maybe cast some doubts in Danny Garcia's mind in the first round when he let off that bomb, because Danny Garcia was just kind of like, even though he has a good chin, fighters know if the shit hurt or not. So I think maybe that messed with Danny Garcia, so he was like cautious. Basically Keith Thurman got his respect early, and Keith Thurman was like pot shotting and picking angles and stuff like that, and I didn't have a problem with anything that Keith Thurman was doing in those first 4 rounds. I thought he was boxing, he was aggressive, but he was still using his legs, and he was picking off his shots, and I thought he was boxing very good, and he built up a cool lead. I actually gave round 2 to Danny Garcia. I thought Danny Garcia did some good work in round 2, but this is one of those fights where even if you gave someone a round, it doesn't mean that it wasn't competitive. Not every round is going to be a landslide. Even though I gave round 2 to Danny Garcia, I still think that Keith Thurman was doing good work in there too. You know what I mean? That's how the round. I didn't see many rounds in this whole fight where I would say that one person thrashed the other and it was just so lopsided. There were no knockdowns, so there were no 10-8 rounds. There were no like Shane Mosley versus Mayweather round 2. There were no like rounds like that in this whole fight, which is kind of unexpected when you've seen the power and how much power both guys have. I expected somebody to probably visibly be a little bit more rattled or hurt throughout the fight. I guess for me, the bad for Keith Thurman was he started in a fight that's a unification. I think you have to fight 3-minute rounds, and this kind of goes against like people. Like, I gotta say it like this: I'm not one of those people that just say everybody, like I would never say Crawford, oh, he ran versus Postal. He was effective and he was beating Postal down. I covered that fight live. So I'm not one of those people that just say runners and this and that. But when I watched Keith Thurman, the thing that I didn't like is he was highly effective in those early rounds, just boxing, but still aggressive, but being sensible and using in and out movement. And I thought that was great. And for whatever reason, I guess to stay safe, he started to use unnecessary lateral movement, kind of like Edeslani Lara versus Canelo. Edeslani Lara was boxing Canelo's ears off in the first half of the fight, and then he just started using unnecessary movement to the point where his offense wasn't as much. And then, I mean, Keith Thurman wasn't as bad as Lara because he was still peeking his head in and taking small stands and landing some cool shit or an uppercut, and then he'll like get back out. But I still think in a fight of this magnitude, I kind of expected a little bit more. The other thing for Keith Thurman is what he's building himself up as. He didn't stay true to that, and that's what the fighters have to realize. Like, I understand selling yourself and things like that, but Keith Thurman's all this KOs for life and stuff like that. And I literally seen or heard an interview from Keith Thurman, and he was talking about Floyd Mayweather's a ballerina and he's gonna tiptoe, and then just like if he's up after in the final round, he's gonna just dance around and stuff like that. And that's literally pretty much what Thurman did. So it's kind of like calling the kettle black in that sense. And then for that reason, we know Danny Garcia, we know what he struggles with, and for that reason, some of the later rounds became kind of stale because Danny Garcia has slow feet. And I'm not saying you make it easy for your opponent, but he wasn't using that much movement early and he was still effective. But I guess so Danny Garcia couldn't catch him. He used, he created a lot of space and used a lot of movement and was kind of content going out like that. So to me, when I watched round 1, I was like, wow, this is Thurman Porter round 13. Like, these motherfuckers are going at it. And as the rounds progressed, once we got past like round 5 or 6, the second half, I thought the tension and a lot of the action started to slow up because the game plan, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not just saying that. I don't care if my 7 reasons was wrong. That's cool. But that's really what I seen. So for me, when I picked Danny Garcia, I told you it's a 50-50 fight, so I don't really lose anything in that. But I told you guys that one of the reasons I was picking Danny Garcia is I wasn't confident in Keith Thurman's temperament to stay disciplined and not engage in a war, you know what I'm saying? And I thought he would leap in, and I still think if he would have did that, it probably would have been bad, which is why obviously part of his game plan, him and his team, was to do more of the Oscar de la Hoya. You were winning the early part, and then you just box and move and just let your hands go in small segments, and then win. But the other thing is, to me, again, a fight of this magnitude, it doesn't make as much sense because Danny Garcia did some of his best work when Keith Thurman was doing that and slowing down. You know what I'm saying? He was popping out the jab. He landed some cool body shots and stuff like that. So for me, it didn't really make sense for Thurman to do it to that degree, to that severity. Like when I watch a lot of boxing. When I watch, like, for example, I watch Floyd Mayweather versus, let's say, Berto or Canelo, I think, are good examples. He's already schooled him so bad for 11 rounds that the 12th round, he might just do a victory lap. And it's a throwaway round because he knows that's not going to shift the momentum to the point where the scores would be even remote, because because he's dominating them in the rounds. That's what I'm trying to say. But when I seen Garcia Thurman, I didn't really see anybody. I thought, like I said, no shade to Keith Thurman, I thought he was boxing beautifully early, but I didn't see a total and utter domination. When I watched Ward Kovalev, I didn't see that either. Barring the second round, there were no domination. It was an elite level fight, and sometimes that's what you get. But I just think Keith Thurman, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I understand being smart and being safe, but he just used a lot of movement in the last rounds to the point you even heard the crowd boo. And I mean, that doesn't always mean something. Sometimes they boo at good fights, but I don't think, I guess the reason why I'm saying it for him is, like I said, he's condemned Floyd Mayweather for doing that. And in addition, in a fight of this severity with titles on the line, you usually want to make more of your statement so it doesn't go. And besides that, I think his best work was in those early rounds when he wasn't doing that. So I don't think he needed to do that to win. I think that actually made the fight closer. If he would have fought kind of how he was fighting in the first 3 rounds or so, then, you know what I mean, maybe he could have scored a knockdown or knocked Danny Garcia out, but still be responsible and be respectful of Danny Garcia. I understand that, but I mean, this is the elite level. But I mean, Keith Thurman got it how he got it, and that's really my breakdown. Danny Garcia, for the bad part about him, after that first round, for a couple rounds, he seemed very hesitant, like he wasn't putting punches together. He seemed kind of stiff and robotic, and credit to Keith Thurman's awkwardness. That's probably one of the reasons why he was like that. He probably felt some power, felt the awkwardness, and he even said post-fight, I think he was trying to bait me in and catch me and counter me. So he was trying to stay safe, but I think Danny Garcia needed to put more punches together if he wanted to win, you know what I mean, because Keith Thurman racked up a cool lead. So I'm definitely okay with Keith Thurman winning it and the 7 reasons being wrong. I just expected probably a little bit more, and I thought we were like, in the first round it looked like it was going to be that type of fight, but as the fight wore on, Keith Thurman, you know what I mean, sometimes it's just about securing the W. You got to do what you got to do. You don't want no foolish shit to happen. So I mean, it is what it is. From a fan perspective, I think Keith Thurman, I don't think he needed to do the De La Hoya Trinidad approach, because he did, and even if he did it for a round maybe, but he did it for a couple rounds, and again, I don't think that lends credence to what you said. And knowing that Danny Garcia has gotten some unfavorable or controversial decisions in the past, I don't even know why you would even want to chance that. So I think Keith Thurman should have probably stood his ground instead of making it close, because it could have been a draw, and in that case you wouldn't get Danny Garcia's WBC belt. And he did win via split decision, but I think doing that made it a bunch closer than it needed to be. If Keith Thurman would have kept a cool pace of what he was doing, then it would have been closer to a shutout, maybe even got a knockdown or whatever, because it looked like Danny Garcia felt the power and stuff when Keith Thurman landed his best stuff. But Keith Thurman looked pretty sharp, pretty crisp. I just would have liked more of a consistent game plan. Other thing with Garcia, I think he started off well going to the body, but then he kind of abandoned the body attack. I wanted to see Danny Garcia throw more jabs. So there's some things I think both could have done. But after watching this, and this is just what it is. I've always thought this, but I really feel like the Kell Brook Errol Spence winner, I think they will beat whoever the winner of this fight, or either guy. I think Danny Garcia or Keith Thurman, how they both look, I think the top welterweight has to be the winner of that particular fight. You know what I'm saying? I guess maybe that was Keith Thurman's game plan, though. Like I said, second half, to exploit that Danny Garcia has slow feet, because he actually did what Peterson did in the first rounds, but he did it in the last rounds. You know what I'm saying? Where he's just using a bunch of spacing and stuff, and Danny Garcia, he's not like Golovkin in the sense of cutting off the ring. But it was a free TV fight. I can't complain. I enjoyed myself. Let me know what you guys thought of it. The 7 reasons streak did come to an end. I'm human, and I'll try again on the next one to see if I get that one right. But I had a fun run with my 7 reasons streak, but that ain't gonna stop me. Nobody's perfect. Let me know what you guys thought overall of Garcia Thurman. Overall, it was a solid fight. I think there's certain things they both need to work on. Danny Garcia now has 1 loss. Keith Thurman now has 2 belts, so he calls himself 2-time. Let me know what you thought. Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.